Gainey today, and she is a audiologist with Total Hearing Care, and she's going to be speaking, like I said, on the 10 signs of hearing loss. So she's going to do her presentation. I am going to mute everyone while she is talking so we don't have any swishy background noise. And then after she's done with her presentation, we will have time for question and answer. We're going to keep everybody muted during the question and answer. I just want you guys to wave your hand in front of the camera, and we'll call on everyone individually and unmute you as you go. That way we don't get bombarded with a lot of sound and questions that we can't hear. That way Paige can get to everyone. After we're finished with that, I have built a wheel. I'm going to verify that everyone, every name that I have is still on that wheel, and then we do have a little gift card to give away from our friends at Total Hearing Care. So I am going to mute everyone, and I am going to unmute Paige, and we'll get started. Paige, give me 10 seconds, and you should be unmuted. You'll be able to see it, okay? Awesome. Mute. Where did she go?
All right. Hi, everybody. How are y'all doing? Good. My name is Dr. Paige Gainey, and I am with Total Hearing Care. We have 4 locations across the Metroplex. We have one at Abrams and Mockingbird. We have one at Coit and Campbell, which is pretty close to the spot. We have one off of, it's like Walnut Hill Lane in 75. It's called Hearing Professional Center. We also have one in the Eastlake Garland area as well. We have been open during this whole time. We have all of our proper PPE to help our patients. We've been doing curbside service to help them. So unless a patient really has to come in, like if they have wax or some issue that needs to be taken care of, we are seeing them with our protective gear. But other than that, we have been doing a lot of curbside services lately. Today we're going to go over the top 10 signs of hearing loss. If y'all have any questions, jot them down, or if you want to type them in the chat, then we can do that as well. And at the end, we can always answer questions too. Okay. All right, so I think Zoe is going to pull up the top 10 signs of hearing loss, my presentation, and we'll go over that. All right, here we go. So this is actually on our website, and at the end we have a quiz that we can take, and that quiz, you can answer them, and we'll answer them kind of as a group and then go through and see how we all do on that quiz. So a lot of patients, they come to me and they say, you know what, I'm not for sure, I want to get checked, I want to get screened to make sure that I don't have anything going on with my ears. Just like how you do with your eyes and your teeth. They do recommend once a year that you get your hearing checked, okay? Some patients, they come to me and they say, you know, I don't have a hearing problem. But others around me, they say that I'm asking them to repeat. I feel like other people mumble, which is number one. You feel like, gosh, I can hear, I just don't always understand. So the clarity is not there. And whenever you're looking at hearing loss is not something that you see, like a broken arm or a wheelchair. You don't see hearing loss. So a lot of times it goes undetected for usually the average is about 5 to 7 years. It can take sometimes people to finally get into the office. Also, you might find yourself having to ask others to repeat themselves. Some patients kind of move back and they don't ask them to repeat. They just laugh and smile and nod. Other times they will say, hey, you know, I have a hearing loss and I can't understand what you're saying, or I can't hear. and they'll ask to repeat. Number 3, what tinnitus is. It says you experience tinnitus or ringing in your ears. And what a lot of people think, they think, oh, it's just a high-pitched ring. Well, that's not always the case. It can always be other sounds. For instance, my grandmother, my Janny, she had tinnitus in her ears that was not ringing. It was actually music. And so it was music playing on repeat, but it wasn't on a radio. She said it sounds like a radio's on and there's music. It's not all the time, but that's actually one form of tinnitus. Other people, they hear insects in the background. They can hear ocean sounds. A lot of times if you have ringing or one sound in only one ear and not in both ears, that could actually be an indication of something further going on. It can be indication of a tumor or a growth going on. So if you have ringing or any sounds in one ear but not the other, or they're different, that's something we need to get evaluated for further health concerns. So number 3, you experience tinnitus, which might not always be ringing. It can be roaring, buzzing, hissing, insect sounds, any sort of sound that's produced by your ear or your brain. Number 4, others complain that you are watching TV or listening to music too loudly. I know that I've been told sometimes I listen to music a little too loud. But your spouse or your family members, they might say, you know what? I like the television at 20 and you like the television at 32 or 40. That's not comfortable for me. You're listening to it too loud. And what you're having to do is you have hearing loss, so you're having to increase the volume. A lot of times, people with hearing loss, they will use closed captioning. I had a husband and wife come in just this morning, and that was one of the things the wife said. She said, you know what, Dr. Gainey, I think my hearing has been impaired or hurt because he's listening to the television so loud. And I noticed lately I haven't been hearing as well. And that's because anytime you listen to something very loud, if there's somebody with normal hearing in the room, you might be damaging their hearing too. Okay. Number 5, you are unable to hear everyday household sounds. Okay, so one of the top things I think of whenever I read number 5 is my granny. And I remember that I would come and knock on the door because I would go see her from college, and I would knock on the door and say, hey, Granny, it's me. And she wouldn't hear my knock. And I didn't knock very hard. I was light-handed, but she didn't hear that. So then I'd have to call her. And so the phone would ring and she would hear that. Then one time whenever I was visiting her, I said, you know what is that noise? And she was heating up tea, and she had a kettle teapot, and that sound was going off, and she could not hear that. One of the sounds that my dad couldn't hear the first time was the alarm on their house. So it was a high-pitched beep, and I said, could you hear that? He said, nope, did not hear that at all. So those are some of the sounds that he was missing. I was getting my car fixed. This was about a year ago, and I took it to the dealership and the Ford house, and I said, you know, hey, this is squeaking. Do y'all hear that? And one man didn't hear it, but the other mechanic did hear it. And so he said, well, gosh, I need to go get my hearing checked. And I said, well, you're in the right place. Here's my business card, and I can get some help for you. And he actually ended up having some hearing loss, some high frequency hearing loss. So everyday household sounds, those are very important. Whenever I have a patient, he said, you know, I didn't realize that my dog panted that loudly. I guess I've forgotten it, or I didn't hear it before, but I was petting him the other day and I heard him pant for the first time in I don't know how many years. So whenever I hear things like that, I say, yep, those are sounds that you've been missing, and we're going to try to bring them back. Because those are your everyday life sounds that are important. They're safety sounds to keep you safe and to experience life and enjoy life. Number 6, you have trouble following conversations in a large group setting, especially when background noise is present. This is a big one. Whenever there's background noise, even people with hearing that is normal, you put them in a restaurant or a noisy environment and they do not hear 100%.
Hey,
So,
I got to interrupt real quick. This is why we tell everyone all the time in our Zoom meetings to keep the noise down, because it makes it hard for other people to hear, for this exact reason. So that is a great example of function.
That is absolutely correct, Zoe. You know, they actually did a research study and they looked at patients with normal hearing and they looked at patients with 2 hearing aids and patients with 1 hearing aid. And they looked in background noise. And patients with normal hearing in party noise only heard about 80% correct. They didn't hear 100%. People with 2 hearing aids, they heard about 70% correct. People with just 1 hearing aid heard 15% correct. So that goes to show you that even with normal hearing, you're never going to hear 100%. Even with 2 hearing aids, it's an aid. It's not a perfect brand new ear. I compare hearing aids to kind of like a cane or a walker for your ear. It's going to help you, but is it going to be the same hip or knee that you had whenever you were 6 years old? It's not, but it's going to help you and bring you as close to normal as we can. And then whenever you just have 1 hearing aid, you know, it definitely helps. It's better than none, but you're not getting that binaural benefit. So background noise, it's difficult for people with normal hearing, but it's more difficult with people with hearing loss. One of the first telltale signs whenever patients come in, we ask them on their case history. We say, hey, you know, what brought you in today? Well, guess what? The number 1 thing that I get is my spouse. My spouse brought me here today. Number 2 is background noise. So their spouse is having issues communicating with them in noise and quiet. So that's why the spouse was like, honey, you need to get your hearing checked. Number 2, I'm having trouble in background noise. If I'm in meetings, I can't hear very well. I feel like I'm missing out more than average, more than the other people. At restaurants, I'm having to just nod and smile because I didn't catch the subject of the sentence. So whenever they're starting to complain about that more and more often, then we need to go ahead and get your hearing checked. Number 7, you have difficulty hearing when you are not facing the speaker. So anytime somebody's back is turned, even if I were to turn my back right now, that's going to decrease the sound level by quite a bit, okay? What it also does, and this is something we've also been experiencing with the masks that we've been using lately, is that you can't read lips anymore. And whenever everybody reads lips, if you have normal hearing, if you don't have normal hearing. So whenever you have your back turned, the patient or the person is not able to pick up on the visual cues, and so they're unable to hear, and it also dampers the sound. If you have hearing loss, it's going to compound that effect and make it even more difficult. For instance, one of the big complaints my dad always had without hearing aids is that, you know, your mom is sitting in her chair or he's driving down the road and she looks out the window and says something. And he said, I can't understand what she said. And then he put hearing aids on, and guess what? I had my mom cover her mouth. I had her walk about 5 or 6 feet away, and I had her ask him some questions, random questions. What's your favorite color? What's your favorite daughter's name? Which he responded, Paige. So he might have said, I don't have a favorite, but I can't remember. So he got all of those answers correct. Whereas before, whenever we took him out and did it again, he missed quite a bit. So they significantly helped picking up, because our day-to-day lives are not perfect communication. We're not always sitting 2 feet apart looking at each other in quiet, which now we're doing a little bit more of that, but soon, hopefully, we'll be out at restaurants and interacting a little bit more. Okay. Number 8, you have trouble understanding every word in a conversation. So this goes back to kind of what we said on number 1. You know, you can hear, but you don't always understand. The clarity is there. And let's talk a little bit about why that is. And we're going to get a little bit sciencey here, but vowel sounds, the A, E, I, O, U, those are actually low pitch vowel sounds. The consonant sounds, the S, Ch, T, K, P, F, those are they're mostly called fricatives, and they're high pitched, okay? Most of the population, and it's probably about 80% or so, guess where their hearing loss occurs? In the low pitches or the high pitches? It's the high pitches, the high frequencies. So they're not getting those consonant sounds. And the consonant sounds are what give meaning to a word. Did she say sick or kick? Did she say tear or chair? Okay. Did she say no mayo or extra tomatoes? So those consonant sounds are going to be the ones that truly actually say, what was this sentence about? So that's why patients say, I can hear, you know, kind of what's going on, you know, but I just don't understand that word, okay? It's kind of like whenever you get your new prescription of glasses, and before you look up at the tree, you don't have your new prescription in, and you see the leaves and you see the trunk, but it's all kind of one image. Then you put your prescription on and you're like, oh, I can see the little leaves in the tree and I can see more distinctly. And that's what hearing aids do. It gives you clarity, all right? Number 9, telephone conversations are difficult for you to follow. Now, whenever you're listening on the telephone, whether it be a landline or a cell phone, a lot of patients, they do have trouble, but what also can happen is whenever you have hearing loss, you're not picking up on that clarity and you're not able to read the lips. So it compounds the effect, so you're unable to understand on the phone. Now we have devices that will help you hear better on the cell phone. They connect with your device. I have a patient, she actually lives at a facility right down the street, and she FaceTimes with her family every day. And so she puts her hearing aids on, and they actually stream her granddaughter's voice directly to her ears, because her granddaughter's like 5 or 6 and has just a really soft, cute little voice. And she's able to understand her granddaughter so much better. She told me, she's like, I probably have I hear about 70% times better than I did without these. So, and that's a huge difference, and that affects her quality of life. And that's what we're looking at. We want quality of life, okay? Number 10. Number 10 is a big one. And it kind of hits close to home to me because my grandfather, he always spoke so loud. I remember being in church and I'm like, oh my gosh, Papa, they can hear you. Every word that you said whenever you were whispering to me, they can hear you. And what happens is whenever you have hearing loss, you can't monitor your own voice. And I've actually seen it go the other way too, where others say you talk too softly. because it's difficult to know if you're talking too soft or too loud because your perception of normal is not normal. It's abnormal because you have hearing loss. So you feel like you have to talk louder in order to get to hear yourself better. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and take the online quiz, and you can just answer these. And feel free to go onto our website, www.totalhearingcare.com, and we can do that. So we're going to click Start My Hearing Quiz.
And one other thing we're going to do too, Paige, is we'll be able to email that link to directly to this quiz to everyone, so you'll have the ability to do that. But this will give everybody a good idea and let them know if they need to be speaking with someone. So there you go.
That'll be excellent.
Yeah.
So do you ever frequently ask people to repeat themselves? So you can click yes or no on the quiz.
Just so you know, I'm answering this for me, you guys, all right?
This is all Zoe's answers. Do you prefer to listen to the television or radio louder than others?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do you avoid group meetings, social occasions, or family gatherings where listening may be difficult?
All right, now we know that's a no because I'll make sure I hear people.
Yeah, and so everybody's different. Some people, I'll say, hey, does your hearing loss keep you from going out and experiencing things? And some people say no. I mean, my grandpa was definitely a no. I'm going to go out and I'm going to ask people to repeat, or I'm going to have my hearing aids on that he got. Other people, my dad, I noticed a huge difference in his personality whenever he got hearing aids. He was more involved at the dinner table. He cracked more jokes, which were sometimes funny, sometimes not. But it was a difference. I could definitely tell. My mom and sister noticed as well. Do people seem to mumble or speak in a softer voice than they used to?
I'm going to say no to that one.
Okay. When you are in a group or crowded restaurant, is it difficult for you to follow the conversation?
Can we have a sometimes option?
I know, right?
I guess that means I have to say yes.
Yeah. So then it will indicate what your results are, and then you can just fill out our contact information here, or give our office a call. And if you fill out our contact, then we will be reaching out to you and setting up a hearing evaluation just to check on things. Yep.
So there you go. See? All right. We are done with that. That was exciting. All right. Well, thank you. Like I said, guys, so much for coming and joining us today. Every Tuesday, we are going to have a different topic and a different subject. And I am really excited about, I mean, I'll be honest, all of them, but there are some that I can't give much information about yet that are super, super neat. Well, Dallas Arboretum's going to do a talk about gardening and patio gardening and raised garden beds, and they're going to have one of their botanists, arborists, I don't know what he is, come speak. So that'll be super, super fun. And then we've got some other big stuff we're working on.
Oh my goodness.
Yet, but we're super excited.
Oh my God.
Yes.
We've got something so cool coming up for you guys. Like, not just the stuff I talked to you about before. We can't say anything about this one yet. Zoe knows what I'm talking about. We're going to knock your socks off in about a month. You're going to be like, what?
Yeah, so join us on Tuesdays. They're doing great prizes for these giveaways. Next Tuesday, I know some of you have been to AmeriLife's talks, but AmeriLife is going to be doing a Zoom and Learn on Tuesday. Next week, they're going to be giving away two $50 gift cards. So if you want to join for those, we'll be spinning for those at the end. They're going to be talking about protecting your financial assets during this time, and then also because of the very special enrollment period. that has opened. So if you're looking or considering changing because of everything going on, they are going to tell you all that information that you need to know as far as your Medicare coverage is concerned. Tomorrow, bingo. Don't forget to join us for bingo tomorrow at 2 p.m. We're going to have a lot of fun. And then Thursday, don't forget, is our happy hour. Bring a drink and bring something you want to show off or tell us about, or a story or a talent, or I don't know, something crazy about yourself. Everybody's going to have an opportunity to share something, and that'll be, you get about 1 to 2 minutes to talk depending on how many people we have in the room, but I think it'll be fun to see some of that stuff. So Dano, you have anything to add?
Love you guys. I can't
Yes,
wait for
love you guys.
to see y'all
Thank you
tomorrow.
once again. Thank you so much for coming
Yeah,
out. I'll see most of you tomorrow, I'm sure.
Yeah, I hope to see y'all all tomorrow, guys.
all right,
See ya.
bye.